Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. Today, just like any other day, got some great stuff coming out. We're going to do a little bit of remembering Memorial Day, a couple of really good clips that were put out late yesterday that I thought were so good that we absolutely need to play them again today. Just kind of talk about that a little bit. We've got some great Trump news coming out. Presidential harassment has now reached an all-time high. Incredible scandals that are being exposed from the Obama era. Yes, Obama scandals still popping up left and right. We've got activist judges, and who are they and what are they doing? The Clintons, Hillary Clinton just can't stop. Just can't stop. We've got scandal, at least scandal number 3, if you count Benghazi, the email scandal, and now this one. This one might be the biggest financial scandal in the history of the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, when it comes to politics. Probably the greatest fraud on the American people. We'll get into all that. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, got a little subtitle down there for them. Chuck declares war. And we'll show you exactly what Chuck is doing. And Nancy Pelosi, I want to kind of touch on that one thing about the whole doctored video. Yeah, I'll give you my take on that real quick. No big deal, but we'll have fun with it, I promise. Joe Biden, AOC, Bill de Blasio, Swalwell. Now I got the answer for you guys. If you want the answer to what we got to do to get rid of these Democrats or to make our next move, what is our next move to keep America great again, to continue to help with America First agenda, I've got the answer for you, so do not fear. We'll get to that at the very end of the show. Ramadan updates on Ramadan. If we get to it today, you'll be clued in. It's day 22 of Ramadan. And you'll hear all about that. And I'm not one that's into pop culture, pop music. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. I'm kind of one of those guys that's stuck in the rock and roll of the 60s and 70s era. However, this was brought to my attention by my cousin, Kerry Smith, and co-host at times when he shows up. Iggy Azalea is an Australian rapper of sorts. Some things have come out about here recently that when he called me today and we talked about the whole situation, I started bringing up other topics and we do this thought process and we kind of came all the way back around. I'm going to give you a take on the nude leaked photos of the rapper Iggy Azalea and how it relates to our culture today and what in the heck is going on. Some other examples, and it's also linked to Donald Trump somehow. Yeah, I'll get into all that. I promise you. Let's start this all off with remembering Memorial Day yesterday. I hope you enjoyed yourselves and your families, and thinking about those who have died in the line of duty, thinking about those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. This from Ronald Reagan, tweeted out at Reagan Battalion. Most of them were boys when they died.
Because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. And all we can do is remember. There's always someone who is remembering for us. No matter what time of year it is or what time of day, there are always people who come to this cemetery, leave a flag or a flower or a little rock on a headstone. And they stop and bow their heads and communicate what they wished to communicate. They say, "Hello, Johnny," or "Hello, Bob. We still think of you. You're still with us. We never got over you. And we pray for you still, and we'll see you again. We'll all meet again." In a way, they represent us, these relatives and friends, and they speak for us as they walk among the headstones and remember. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us.
As I served in the United States Air Force, I was never involved or had anything to do with any kind of combat or in a war zone. However, nonetheless, my heart goes out to those that have died fighting for freedom in America. My heart goes out to the friends and the family. And those are the ones that we need to pray for, pray that God comforts, secures them, helps them through their times and trials. And some of the heartbreaking stories that have come out over Memorial Day weekend. Some of these videos are so powerful, and our good friend at Real MAGA Steve posted this one up. Heartbreaking. Please help honor Gold Star family, Gabriella Bowen.
As a Gold Star child, I'm very proud of my dad and what he did for our country. Whenever I look at photos or videos of my dad, I always smile and I think, oh, he was wonderful. He was the best.
Okay, Smith, move your arms. There you go. There you go. Keep going, all right.
Sometimes I'm just speechless because I just like to watch how we interacted with each other when I was little.
1, 2. Whoa! Begin.
We always try to remember Colin and do activities, but with a different perspective. So when I first became a Gold Star wife, I didn't become involved right away because there's not a chapter for widows who are mostly young, who were left behind with children. But then I met Dr. Vivian Wurzel, and our chapter is virtual. We don't have the limitations of, oh, now I have to find a babysitter to leave my kids and now be able to go to this activity. There's not that problem. What I realized when I became part of this group is that I stopped being the one who receives help to be the one who provides help. And that is not only fulfilling, but very empowering.
And again, I hope you had a great Memorial Day with friends and family. And hopefully you did take a moment and a time. It's 3:00 in the afternoon to take a moment to remember those that have given the ultimate sacrifice and the freedom that we have for America. And we cannot squander it. We cannot let it slip through our hands. And that's what we do here. And that's why we do this. We do this to expose the fake news and get out the real news so that you know what you're doing. You know who the people are that are running for office, that are Make America Great Again candidates, America First agenda, and continuing to keep America great. This is what we're up against. We're up against the left that is so hell-bent on destroying everything that our soldiers have fought and died for. And as digital warriors, we need to continue to push on to make sure that never becomes a reality. And the reality is the left will continue to keep fighting us to no end. So as Donald Trump is replacing Supreme Court justices and replacing justices nationwide, the left is in full-blown outrage. Imagine what's going to happen when Ruth Bader Ginsburg is replaced by Donald Trump's pick. Imagine all this venom and anger and hate. We've got to stand strong. We've got to stand up against this. The abortion issue is front and center, and we absolutely must win this war. Chuck Schumer on display out in D.C. This guy's absolutely lost it. Listen to what he says with his bullhorn, and he almost makes the case for pro-life. This at SERREMMY.
They say, oh, they don't like the Alabama law, and then they vote for judges who will uphold the Alabama law and repeal Roe. They are the kinds of people, this is the act of hypocrisy. Can someone hold this? Just for a second, I want to do something. Here's what they say. With one hand, they say, oh no, I don't like the Alabama law. With the other, they say, give me judges that are for the Alabama law and will undo Roe. Is that hypocrisy? Are we going to expose them? All the Republican senators who vote for judges who will repeal Roe and then say they don't want to. BS. Here's what some of the judges they voted for. Judge Leonard Grass, he said Roe v. Wade is morally bankrupt. Judge Amy Coney Barrett, she said Roe was erroneously decided. The one they voted for last week, just about all of them, or every Republican, she said Planned Parenthood kills 150,000 women and contraceptives cause cancer. And now they're going to move Stephen Clark, who's affiliated with a group that compared Roe to Dred Scott. They think he should be a federal judge. Do we? No! Do we think the federal society, which is dedicated to repealing Roe, should pick judges? No! This is their game plan. Their game plan is to load up the bench. That's why we're here at the Supreme Court, with people who want to undo Roe, repeal Roe, greatly curtail Roe. That's their game plan, but we are here to expose them. We are here to show America that America is pro-choice. And America will not stand for Republican senators who work to undermine Roe. I'm with you all the way. On to victory, everybody.
One thing I wanted to point out in his little speech there is that the Republicans say that birth control causes cancer. I'm not quite sure about that, but I remember back in the day, back when I was in college, there was a commercial that came out, and I thought it was a silly commercial. It's called Yaz, Y-A-Z, which was birth control for women. And the commercial was so idiotic and ridiculous that I just couldn't help. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Almost like a cartoon. You pull up Yaz on the Google now. I believe that it's been recalled, but you pull it up now, and here's the dangerous side effects of birth control. Research has shown that those who take hydroprozone, birth control pills such as Yaz, have an increased risk of developing dangerous blood clots. Patients taking other potassium-increasing drugs are advised not to take Yaz. Excessive potassium levels can cause serious injury or death. Okay, so maybe it might not cause cancer, but there's possibility of death. Oh, my goodness. So as we talk about the lunacy of the Democrats, this breaking news today, folks, this is part of the whole breaking news today by Washington Times. I tweeted this one out at Planned Parenthood. We will stop you from selling the babies' bodies you have murdered. Hashtag Tuesday Thoughts, hashtag Tuesday Motivation. And this was the article at the Washington Times. Supreme Court upholds Indiana's fetal tissue burial law. So what this does, the Supreme Court just held up a law that the state of Indiana has created that says that after the abortion happens, after you've murdered the baby, what do you do with the remains? What do you do with the body? Well, Planned Parenthood sells them off, and we know that because of our good friend James O'Keefe and his undercover detective videos have shown us Planned Parenthood talking about selling baby parts and for how much. Literally having a list, like a menu at a store and a list for each thing and the amount of money that they need for it and how much it's going to cost and whatnot. This is the evils that is Planned Parenthood. And again, James O'Keefe uncovering all of this. Indiana now saying that we as a state can dictate what you do with the remains. We as a state must be informed of what you're doing with the remains, and we can put down rules and regulations of how to dispose of and how to take care of the remains after the abortion is complete. This will now, I'm surmising, but this will now shed light and stop Planned Parenthood from actually selling these parts for the baby. I believe that's probably what the lawmakers were thinking after being horrified of what Planned Parenthood is doing, the abortion factories and what they're doing with the babies after they've been murdered. This is another step towards greatness. This is another step that will absolutely help save the life of the mother and save the lives of these babies. These babies have rights. The baby has a right to choice to life, a right to life. And the state of Indiana passing a law and the Supreme Court upholding that law, saying that the state does have a right to dictate what should be done with the tissue, they say fetal tissue, burial law. So applaud you, Indiana, for taking another step forward. Thank goodness. And I'll save the great news for last, but for right now, let's get into the presidential harassment and how it's not working out so well for the Democrats. And this at Jelly_cat. Let's all listen to the DC politicians who have been in office for over 100 years combined. Blame the man who's currently been in the White House for only 2 years. Ready, set, go. Mad Maxine, Beto O'Rourke, Nancy Pelosi, Mazie Hirono.
Since the election of Donald Trump as president of the United States. And as we look to our responsibilities to the American people, we can see that it's 7 months of failure.
It's the most populous state in the nation, and its economy is now the largest in the country. But this week, it made another list, ranked last for quality of life.
Donald Trump creates a crisis, blames others for what's happening, and uses the ensuing chaos to demand a legislative solution that often harms even more people.
This is the Hawaii you usually see on TV, but just down the street is this, Hawaii's crisis of homelessness. Many end up on the streets, on beaches, in parks, and in tent cities. There are now more than 7,000 homeless in Hawaii, the highest per capita rate in the nation. About 5,000 of those are packed into Honolulu. Many struggle with drugs, alcohol, and mental illness.
We've talked about the infrastructure, creating an infrastructure.
In the heart of Los Angeles, rats are breeding, and a medieval disease is born again. Typhus. Typhus is popping up in LA's Skid Row, an area where homelessness sprawls across 50 city blocks. And an infectious disease eradicated in the 1800s that festers in filth and is spread by fleas and rats because the city allows hundreds of homeless people to set up shacks on the sidewalk and live there forever. Over time, squalor built up on the streets with rats feasting on rotting food mixed with sewage and used syringes. But far away from Skid Row, through rats and fleas, typhus traveled through the streets, and a deputy city attorney who works way up on the 6th floor at City Hall got infected.
I feel extraordinarily grateful that the Democratic Party has produced so many extraordinary candidates, each of whom brings a different set of skills and life experiences.
Pick any reason why this shouldn't be here and it's there.
A world that feels more foreign with each step, an area woven with worries of environmental and safety concerns and crime.
I've seen needles on the ground. It's a tragedy that this is happening in Austin.
And they left out Chicago, the murder capital of America. run by Democrats as well. Wherever the Democrats run their cities, this is what happens. You get bad policy after bad policy after bad policy. If people living in the streets, it's promoted. These people living in the streets, it's being promoted by the government handouts, by the money. You go to Hawaii, well, you go to Santa Monica, California, where there's a huge homeless community. In Santa Monica, you can get 5 hot meals a day. It puts you up in motels for 30 days at a time, and then you have to leave for 30 days, but then you get back to a motel again, paid for by the city. It is out of control with these horrible, horrible policies, and this is why we need to elect great candidates. And here on Smith TV, we will showcase those candidates. We've got one here in Ohio that we're going to showcase tonight. And again, if this is the first time you've been on the show, I welcome you. Crush the share, crush the follow. If you're on the YouTubes, hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you get the notifications. Jump down to the show notes and you'll see a link to an app called Telegram. Telegram is an app to where you and I can stay connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without interruption. We won't be interrupted by Jack Dorsey. We won't be interrupted by Facebook Mark Zuckerberg. None of that. They can't stop us on Telegram. And while you have the app on Telegram down, you can also get connected to Paul Joseph Watson, Prison Planet, and also get connected to Milo as well as Laura Loomer and Smith TV. That is us. You'll catch us live. You'll never miss a live moment. And if you look down in the description, you'll see a link that says full show notes. Click on that link. That'll take you directly to newrightnetwork.com and the full show notes list. You can actually take that link and share that to a friend, family members. The video is embedded there so they can watch the show there as well. And you can follow along in the show. Each one of the names that we highlight here, click it. It's a clickable link. It'll take you directly over to Twitter so that you can follow these incredible patriot Americans and stay abreast of real news in real time, as well as the politicians that are no good. If you don't want to hear from these politicians, go ahead and click their name, go over there and hit mute or block them or whatever. And just find out about them when I tell you about it. But then there's great politicians and great articles, like I was telling you before about the Washington Times that reported on Indiana and the Supreme Court upholding Indiana's fetal tissue law, stating that they will make rules and regulations on what Planned Parenthood has to do with fetal tissue once they perform an abortion, which I think is great to not leave that power with Planned Parenthood to be able to sell that kind of thing. And if you thought Barack Obama's legacy was over, if you thought Barack Obama was gone just because you haven't heard from him in a while, do not think so. A lot of the stuff that he did in the 8 years, as I call it, his reign of terror as president, is now coming to light. All the rotten, awful things are now coming to light. People keep asking me if something's going to happen to him. I don't think that you could really go after a former president. I mean, his time in service is over with. I don't think he could be charged with anything, and I'm not even sure if we should charge a former president. I just don't understand. I don't think it would look good to the world. I don't think it'll look good to history. However, his legacy will speak for himself. Now, for those of you out there screaming at me right now, hold on. If you're saying, Brian, he needs to be thrown in jail with Hillary Clinton, I agree with you on that. Sure, that's fine. However, the optics of that doesn't look good. And 50 years, 60 years, 100 years from now, the Democrats are going to use this and say the only black president or the first black president, which most black Americans do not revere him as a black man because he's half white, was thrown in prison by Republicans. That don't sit well. However, I do think that we should go after the ones that actually perpetrated the crime, the deep staters, the employees, the Peter Strzok's, the Lisa Pages, the John Brennans, the Andrew McCabe's, and James Comey's of the world. And yes, Hillary crime-ridden Clinton. We should absolutely go after her. I believe that she's going to, something very, very serious is going to happen to her in a sense of legalities. And we've got a lot of stuff going on about that. But here's what we're finding out that Barack Obama had perpetrated while in office. This at American Voter US propaganda is coming from within CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, and sometimes Fox News with GOP deep state. Obama made fake news legal. And he posted up this meme. Did you know, for the first time since 1948, propaganda is now legal in the United States? On 12/29/12, President Obama signed H.R. 4310, the 2013 National Defense Authorization Act, Section 1078 of the bill authorizes the use of propaganda inside the U.S., which had previously been banned since 1948 when the Smith-Mutton Act was passed. This explains why we see all this fake news coming out with the likes we've never seen before. I'm truly propaganda. We showcase this propaganda all day long, all the time here on Smith TV. Matter of fact, if you ever miss a show, jump over to smyth.tv. Very easy to remember, smyth.tv, and catch all the shows over there. But again, Barack Obama doing things in the background with the likes that we've never seen any president do before. And we knew it was rotten. We knew it was awful. We just didn't know how bad, and we didn't have the smoking gun or the documents to prove it. Will we ever know what Obama wants to hide? Obama administration spent $36 million on lawsuits to keep information secret. This by CBS News. The Obama administration in its final year in office spent a record $36.2 million on legal costs, defending its refusal to turn over federal records on the Freedom of Information Act. And for a second consecutive year, the Obama administration set a record for times federal employees told citizens, journalists, and others that despite searching, they couldn't find a single page of files that were requested. We know this to be absolutely true. This is just backing up everything that we know to be a fact. Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch has been complaining about this the entire Obama administration. And now we know it to be an absolute fact. They were stalled. You're requesting information? We have no files on that. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Now all of a sudden, files are being dumped. Thank you, Attorney General Barr, for responding to these FOIA requests and absolutely showcasing how bad Barack Obama's reign of terror truly was. This @real Donald Trump, Ian Bremmer, now admits that he made up a completely ludicrous quote, attributing it to me. This is what's going on in the age of fake news. People think they could say anything and get away with it. Really? The libel laws should be changed to hold fake news media accountable. Without a doubt, absolutely. The President of the United States should be able to sue reporters and news outlets for libel. This individual, fake news individual, made a statement and then fake news ran with it and started talking about it as if it was real news. You know, like Nancy Pelosi said, the wrap-up smear. Say something that's absolutely false, then go ahead, send it to the news media outlet and have them report on it. And then you go ahead and reference the media outlet and said, see, I told you it was true. And that's the wrap-up smear. Come on. And more of the fake news, more of the wrap-up smear. We've been reporting on this liberal activist judge. And @Houston USA 6, this is one of 3 tweets. This is the liberal activist judge Haywood Gilliam from Northern California Federal District. He was nominated by Barack Obama after he donated $30,000 to his campaigns and donated to other Democrats and the DNC. He is noted for 2 big case rulings against Donald Trump. 2 of 3. Case 1, he's the judge that blocked the ruling that employers could opt out of paying for birth control of their employees. Case 2, he's the judge that ruled Trump couldn't reallocate funds for building the wall in Texas and Arizona. He has blocked the wall in 2 states. You must file a complaint, once.house.gov, using these canons. He violates canons 1, 2, and 5. Complaints are the only way to stop these liberal activists. #judging judges. Go red state by state. Team Aaron Cruz. And if you will remember that employers, meaning Christian faith-based employers, whether it be Chick-fil-A or my church, was mandated by Obamacare to provide birth control to the employees. This is against their religious beliefs. This is something that they don't believe in and shouldn't be forced to do. And so while we see these activist judges all across the country, again, Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, we've been talking about that, another judge added there, hopefully to balance the system out there, because the Ninth Circuit always sides with crazy liberal, insane lawyers proposing to stop Donald Trump at every single turn. Slowly but surely, Donald Trump is changing that landscape. I know we've got some great news coming out about that. And this at MELSKI1, Trump is bringing change to California-based Ninth Circuit Court. When Trump assumed the presidency, there were 8 vacancies on the Ninth Circuit. Trump has managed to successfully appoint 6 judges to the Ninth Circuit. That's winning. He's making America great again. That's the great news we need to hear about. And that's why we do the show, so that you aren't left behind not knowing what Donald Trump is really doing. So that when you run into your friends and your family and they're saying, this is the worst president we've ever seen, we've never had such a bad president, and you look right back at them and you say, here's how Donald Trump is making America great again. Here's what he's doing. He's taking a liberal activist circuit court, and literally changing it to be more aligned with the Constitution, the constitutional ideologies, and not writing or rewriting law from the bench. That has to stop, and that's what Donald Trump is doing. Phenomenal job. And so as we still see, Barack Obama's deep staters still reeling and rolling. I don't know if you've been watching, but John Brennan has been absolutely tweeting out some of the most vile, hateful things towards the President Trump. Yes, John Brennan, the head of the CIA, tweeting out vile things to this president. He's in a lot of hot water, and I think he ought to shut up. But go ahead, keep talking. And this at Hody Toady. Brennan still carrying a security clearance. Raise your hand if you think it should be revoked at POTUS. And this was retweeting Tom Fitton's original tweet.
See, the president is doing things on his own. Today or this week, he announced that he was withdrawing or taking back or pulling the security clearance of John Brennan, the unhinged, Trump-hating CIA director under Barack Obama. Now, John Brennan is part of the group that needs to be criminally investigated for abuses of office while at the CIA. Because he was part of this crowd that was targeting Trump as well for illicit reasons. And since he's been out of office, since he left the CIA, he's been attacking Trump in weird, threatening tweets. And I quoted a few. Someone was running, I think Hannity had the other night, some clips of him on MSNBC. It was even worse than I knew. Regularly calling the president a traitor and kind of crazy things like that. He referred to the president's administration as a failing kakistocracy. Kakistocracy is essentially a regime headed by the worst of the worst. And this is the one tweet that I picked up on. When the full extent of your venality, moral turpitude, and political corruption becomes known, you will take your rightful place as a disgraced demagogue in the dustbin of history. You may scapegoat Andy McCabe, he's defending the alleged criminal Andy McCabe, but you will not destroy America. America will triumph over you. Why would a CIA director, even a retired one, write stuff like that? And that sort of animus shows you why it's easy to understand, or it shows you how it should tell you what was behind the spying on Trump. This sort of craziness.
Absolute craziness, lunacy coming out of the deep state. John Brennan filled with so much venom and hate for Donald Trump that he cannot stop. He cannot handle the fact that they lost. You all lost. You lost the election. And now it's over. And now you've got John Brennan coming out saying vile things. And now you've got former Attorney General Eric Holder coming out against saying some vile things. Check this out. This at Chuck Costello. Former AG Holder says Barr is not fit to lead the DOJ. This coming from the guy who on June 28th, 2012, became the first U.S. Attorney General in the history of Attorney Generals to be held both criminally and civil contempt. That by trendingpolitics.com. Eric Holder was the worst of the worst. Eric Holder was a really bad guy. Everything from Fast and Furious to all the cover-ups for Barack Obama just being exposed. We're now exposing all of this thanks to the winning campaign by Donald Trump, thanks to you and I going out and voting for the right guy. For the first time in all of American history, 243 years, we voted for a citizen to be president of the United States of America. That has never happened. Just someone who had never held political office, someone who'd never been involved in the government or government dealings, just a citizen, a businessman elected president of the United States of America. That's why you see all the hate and the anger coming from Eric Holder, coming from John Brennan, coming from Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, saying some of the most awful, vile things because they lost and they know the jig is up. And for those of you who say that I hate Donald Trump tweeting, well, Donald Trump tweeted this out, and I wouldn't have got it because I don't follow ABC politics, but I got it. And I thank you, Donald Trump, for retweeting this out. Representative Liz_Cheney, we had people that are at the highest levels of our law enforcement
all of the oxygen out of the room, refusing to do any of the things we were elected to do, and instead continuing these attacks and partisan investigations, partisan issuance of subpoenas.
And the president attacks back. Is that the right thing to do?
Look, I think that, what we have seen, if you
retweeting these videos, that
I think what is really crucially important to remember here is that you had Strzok and Page, who were in charge of launching this investigation, and they were saying things like, we must stop this president. We need an insurance policy against this president. That, in my view, when you have people that are in the highest echelons of the law enforcement of this nation saying things like that, that sounds an awful lot like a coup, and it could well be treason. And I think that we need to know more. We need to know what was Jim Comey's role in all of this. These people reported to him. Andy McCabe reported to him. What was Comey's role in that? And that is what the Attorney General is going to be focused on.
Let me talk about this, because you saw what the president did with Attorney General Barr. He said he could declassify all this intelligence. Do you worry that sources and methods might be revealed? Do you have any problems with him saying declassify this intelligence, even though he won't give the Mueller report and unredacted Mueller report to Congress?
Look, first of all, the Mueller report has been delivered to Congress, every single piece of it that could be within the law. The amount that's been redacted that's available for key officials in Congress to see, the amount that's been redacted is something like less than 2%. So it has been turned over. Secondly, I have complete confidence in Attorney General Barr in terms of this decision that he's going to make. And thirdly, as I said before, he has to have the ability to look at what happened. Think about what happened. Think about the fact that we had people that are at the highest levels of our law enforcement in this nation saying that they were going to stop a duly elected president of the United States, saying they needed an insurance policy against him. That is something that simply cannot happen. We have to have confidence in our law enforcement, and the Attorney General has got to get to the bottom of what happened, how it was that those people were allowed to misuse and abuse their power that way.
As you watch MSNBC or ABC trying to spin it, she tried to spin it and said right there, you watched it, she tried to say to Liz Cheney, well, Donald Trump redacted the Mueller report, but he's telling Attorney General Barr to go ahead and release everything. And as Liz Cheney, to her credit, fought back. Thank you so much for fighting back on the fake news. Folks, whatever's coming, Attorney General Barr is going to come out with, there are going to be redactions. There are going to be some redactions. And she said, what about methods? Methods are going to come out and we're going to know about them. Hell yeah, we're going to know about the methods. We're going to know about the illegal methods and the attempt to trick the courts in order to get a false narrative across, in order to spy on the opposition candidate, criminally, illegally spying on the Trump campaign, tapping his wires. Yeah, we're going to find out all about that. So ABC politics, yeah, you just keep on keeping on. You're doing a job that we are happy that you're doing. And as we kind of turn the corner, we're still talking about politicians. We're talking about crimes, high crimes and misdemeanors. As we talk about that, you can't help but to miss number one culprit in the room, the big elephant in the room, if you will, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Hillary Clinton now having another scandal coming out about her. This at Phil_Petty Former CIA officer exposes Clinton charity fraud as biggest scandal in U.S. history. This by Zero Hedge. Former CIA officer and whistleblower Kevin Shipp says the reasons for all the crime and treason at the FBI and DOJ all boils down to one thing. It's the Clinton so-called charity. Shipp explains Hillary Clinton was running and is running a global financial criminal syndicate. She was using these secret servers to conduct Clinton financial money laundering business. The shocking thing about it all, the former directors of the CIA have come out to support her, from Clapper to Brennan to Morell to Robert Gates, supporting her being elected. Knew about this criminal syndicate. Comey was protecting it. Lynch was protecting it. Weissman was protecting it. And that is big. Why? What's she got on these people? Are they financial ties? They had to be aware of this, especially the counterintelligence units. We know it was hacked by foreign intel services because it was just hanging out there. Hillary Clinton was running a secret server outside the Department of the State for the purpose of laundering money through the criminal Clinton Foundation. You know this. I know this. We've got documents on this. We now got a whistleblower on this. All this stuff is coming to pass. And yes, I honestly believe that something is going to happen to Hillary Clinton. Whether she's locked up in jail or not, I can't say for sure. But I honestly believe that there's so much dirt on her. There's so much rotten, bad stuff on her that she is definitely going to be in for a world of hurt. And so now we're starting to find out. And people have been asking me, Brian, why Hillary? Why this? What's really going on? Folks, Hillary Clinton was able to raise billions, hundreds of billions of dollars through other foreign governments and foreign entities with the likes the Democrat Party has never seen in its entire existence. I don't think any political campaign or political party has seen the ability to raise hundreds of billions of dollars through the Clinton Foundation and then funnel that money to her daughter, making $500,000 a year, to Hillary Clinton, to Bill Clinton, to all the other parts and entities, and apparently giving 3% to charity? That don't sound like a charitable foundation. So wrapping all this money up because why? Why do they need all this money? Because it takes a lot of money to sell lies. If you're telling the truth, it don't take much money to tell somebody the truth and show them fact by fact. But if you're going to lie to somebody, you're going to tell them a big, huge whopper of a lie. You got to pay the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the TSA. You got to pay everybody off. MSNBC, CNN, ABC. People's got to get paid to perpetrate the lie. That's first and foremost. Secondly, they need a lot of money to buy these political seats. And people are like, well, why would Barack Obama go down that road and be cool with it? Reason why Barack Obama was down that road and cool with it, first off, it's money and it's power. And if she'd have won office, it would have kept flowing like a river. She'd have sold the whole country out, and the money would have flowed to the pockets of the DNC, Barack Obama, the Clinton Foundation. They would have been enriched to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars beyond anything we have ever seen before. And since Barack Obama covered for her during his presidency, having all the dirt on her, he would be a recipient. And once again, at Tom Fitton, caught, FBI forced to admit it found Clinton emails on Obama White House.
Hi, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton here with breaking news on the Clinton email scandal. If you want to know why Hillary Clinton has skated thus far on her email misconduct, it's because Barack Obama is implicated in the Clinton email scheme. The FBI just admitted to us that it had to find Clinton emails in Barack Obama's White House, specifically the executive office of the president. The FBI also confirmed it found up to 49,000 Clinton server emails on the laptop of disgraced former Congressman Anthony Weiner. These disclosures were forced out of the FBI as a result of court-ordered discovery granted to Judicial Watch into the Clinton email issue. Once again, it's Judicial Watch doing the heavy lifting to hold Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama accountable to the rule of law.
Hillary Clinton, as you say, nobody's above the law. And again, we were watching Barack Obama had an alias We know the alias that he was using, emailing Hillary Clinton back and forth, knowing that she was using a private server, knowing that it was unsecured, maybe not knowing how unsecured it was, but we know that the Chinese had hacked it. The Chinese were carbon copied from every email Hillary Clinton sent and everyone that she received. Other people have hacked it. We know that Grucifer 1.0 and Grucifer 2.0 had hacked the Hillary Clinton email. Everybody hacked it. Now we're all of a sudden we're finding 49,000 emails on the Clinton Wiener's laptop. Well, we know that to be true because as the story goes, an FBI agent investigating Anthony Weiner got a hold of the laptop and was doing forensics. All of a sudden, ran across a treasure trove of Hillary Clinton emails. Went straight to the folks, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, investigating the Hillary email scandal, James Comey, and said, look what I found. I'm an FBI agent. Here's the information. You need to deal with this. Refusing to deal with it week after week after week after week. This FBI agent started to escalate this, and that's when you had James Comey come out saying, I'm going to revisit this, and then there's no there. That's what that one was all about. And this at Rose Dickson TX, do you blame him? Can you possibly blame Trump and the American people for being furious? The corrupt FBI knew the entire story was a lie, yet they withheld this information from the court. This is nothing short of treason. This by thegatewaypundit.com. Exclusive, FBI obtained bogus Trump Russia Alpha Bank FISA warrant after they learned the entire story was a lie. Respected computer scientists who raised concerns about the possible connection between President Trump and the Russia bank is an unabashed Hillary Clinton supporter who made multiple small donations to the Democrats' presidential campaign around the time she and her colleagues surfaced the allegations. Professor Kemp also received a multi-million-dollar grant from the Obama administration in 2012. According to New York Times, October 31, 2016, computer logs show that 2 servers at the Alpha Bank sent more than 2,000 lookup messages to the Trump servers. This was orchestrated and this was perpetrated on purpose to make it look like it was coming from Russia when actually it wasn't. We found out during the campaign that there is a program that the FBI, CIA, the rest, the programs that they use to make it look like an email comes from somewhere that it didn't come from. Folks, this is the Hillary Clinton that should go to jail. And now as we round this out, we're looking at that ordeal with Nancy Pelosi. Remember I told you guys about Nancy Pelosi? Yep. Hold on. This at Coco Cupcakes 29. If Hillary's mouth is open, she's lying. What type of person blatantly deceives and lies? Someone who has already downed someone in hell. And this at David J. Harris Jr.
Hillary is at it again. Now she is just straight up lying to anybody that'll believe her, saying that a video that Donald Trump and all of us supporters have shared was doctored.
Just look at what's happened in the last 24 hours. The president and his cronies have been running around spreading a doctored video of Nancy Pelosi.
What video is she talking about?
We had a little took a little longer on the floor. Custody of the border. Everyone, he started sending signals to the U.S., Mexico, Canada. If that's not the accurate character, some people call it after NAFTA, some call it NAFTA 2.0, working together to make past that. Not if we're the three things. We're very busy people.
No. Hell no, Hillary. That video's not doctored. That's actually Nancy Pelosi trying to put 2 words together. The woman is obviously in some serious need of health assistance.
Here's the take on this, folks. The video was not doctored. It was jump cut. It's called jump cut. It's where you take a clip, cut out all the meat in between it, and put the next clip in it. Jump from one clip to another clip to another clip. Her words, the video, none of that was altered in After Effects or Photoshop or whatever. None of that happened. when you doctor a video, you alter the actual physical video like MSNBC does, where they'll clip out something that somebody says to make it sound like I hate Nazis, and then take out the word hate and it says I like Nazis, or whatever the case may be. And they'll cut all that together to misconstrue your words. This isn't misconstruing anything. She truly needs help and cannot put a sentence together. And real quick, we're going to run through the Democrats as fast as we possibly can. Trump kicked sleepy Joe Biden right where it hurts. Support in the black community. This at Draw and Strike. Donald Trump tweets out, super predator was a term associated with 1994 crime bill that sleepy Joe Biden was so heavily involved in, passing that the dark period in American history. But has Sleepy Joe apologized? No. And this at JHawker4 Trump. Did you know AOC states that we need to tax corporations, 90%, because Bill Gates says so, and Reagan was a racist. I did not realize that people of the Bronx and Queens are on her level mentally that voted her in. And this at Aya for Trump, de Blasio, bankrupt New York. We are now a sanctuary city with human feces in the streets, with rats that carry fleas, that carry infectious diseases. His wife lost $850 million. How do you lose that kind of money? Do you misplace it under the mattress? I don't know. Now he wants to be president. Eric Swalwell tweeted this out. Help Penny get to the White House with your pennies. All it takes is $1 to get us out of these rough, RUFF times. Then our good friend at FUCT up Mike, it's a waste of $1. How pathetic. And this our friend in Ohio, of course he does. At Dr. Hennon, he lies as much as they do. This is the individual that he's running against in the 13th congressional district here in Ohio. And so here's the answer. Run for office as a Republican if you cannot take at Electra661's advice. Wow, this is a must-read info. Want to change the GOP party? Become a precinct committeeman in your county. Please read. I'll be calling my office Tuesday. Thanks for sharing. And we've talked about this all along, folks. Precinct committeemen, you actually have a stake in the party to help change the GOP, to help move this party in the right direction. Here in Ohio, I'm getting reports that the GOP in Ohio is now united with Trump with the likes that has never happened before. So I'm really, really excited about Ohio. And kind of to wrap this up, I wanted to talk about this Iggy Azalea leaked nude photos at the Daily Beast. The nude photos of this Iggy Azalea slams the photographer who kept the images without her consent. So apparently she posed for a GQ magazine, and the photographer had taken more photos, and the photos of her that were nude he kept and now have released them. Folks, we live in a world now to where people are doing things for notoriety and for fame, just like the ESPN, now Fox News sports reporter Erin Andrews. She just won a $55 million lawsuit from a hotel peephole. A stalker found her, went to the Marriott, and the Marriott permitted Michael David to go ahead and get a room right next to her. He then made a peephole into her room and photographed her 5 minutes of her being naked. Not being satisfied with just that 5 minutes and him keeping it to himself, decided to go ahead and sell it, decided to go ahead and publish it on the internet, and now it's all over the adult websites of this reporter. It's like, I liken it to the guy who robs a bank and wants to get credit for it. What are you guys doing? I mean, you know, if you see a wreck down the street, people are pulling out their phones and not actually stopping to help people out. We live in a crazy world, folks, to where things are changing with the young people nowadays. I wouldn't think for a split second to pop open my phone. There have been times where I've had my phone on me and I could have done it and I didn't do it. Not because I didn't want to, but it just didn't register in my mind. Hey, man, I'd have videotaped this and go viral if something bad happening to somebody, just like we talked about with some friends of mine and at ABC Live, LA police chase.
If you are in the area of West La Cienega and West 3rd Street, seek shelter. We will get right back to your regular scheduled program of Gilmore Girls in just a second, but there is a crackhead loose driving an RV like a madman, and look at this, taking a U-turn and drives right into a tree. We are getting reports that this driver has no teeth, spent the whole night smoking crack and doing zippies and ripping bath salts, and obviously has no... Oh my God, is that a f***ing dog? There is a dog driving the vehicle and he plows into another car. This is something you never want to see, folks. Give us a minute. Peter and I are up here in Skybox 1 helicopter, and we'll see if it is a crackhead indeed. It is. Yes, right there. There is the crackhead. There is the dog. And they are firing bullets at the crackhead trying to kill him.
Chases in LA have become comical, have become circus. And they're saying now that 18% of them actually get away. You will become famous and on the news and brag about to your friends and family. They're actually calling, the guys that are running in the chase are calling their friends saying, hey, watch me, I'm on the news. And now how does this relate to Donald Trump? This relates to Donald Trump and his taxes. They're demanding his taxes be released, and mark my words, it will be leaked. Someone in the IRS who's either a Trump supporter or maybe not, someone who wants to become famous will leak this stuff, and it's just absolutely awful. And over the weekend, Donald Trump was in Japan making some great statements and really working out some great deals with Japan, and he takes a moment to crack on China.
As far as China is concerned, they wouldn't make a deal. I think they probably wish they made the deal that they had on the table before they tried to renegotiate it. They would like to make a deal. We're not ready to make a deal, and we're taking in tens of billions of dollars of tariffs, and that number could go up very, very substantially, very easily. But I think sometime in the future, China and the United States will absolutely have a great trade deal, and we look forward to that.
Thank you, Donald Trump. Wow, this guy gets it. This guy is Nigel Evans, a conservative British politician who stands up and lets everyone know why the people voted for Brexit and Donald Trump. I applaud this guy. Please retweet this at ARMAND Klein. This by Pastor Mark.
Tired of those race-baiting Democrats. We have made it clear that we will never sit back and let you destroy our freedom, our liberty, our just, and the American way is the greatest president that America has ever seen. Donald J. Trump. Because I don't care about CNN. I don't care about MSNBC. I don't care what the liberal media might say. We don't belong to them. We belong to God Almighty. It doesn't matter if you're black. It doesn't matter if you're white, brown. It doesn't matter if you're yellow or red. It doesn't matter if you're gay. It doesn't matter if you're straight. It doesn't matter if you're Christian or Jew or Muslim. If you love this country and you fight for the United States of America, if you're declaring that I love America, then you are part of the walkaway movement.
We were there live, and it was amazing. Pastor Mark, absolutely love the guy. Just an incredible individual. Great, great pastor and a great patriot of America and a supporter of Donald J. Trump. Folks, jump over to SmythTV. Check out all the stuff. Help support New News Media. This is where you're getting all the real news, breaking news every single day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Making sense of it all, wrapping it all up, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith. Crush the share, crush the follow. Thank you for being on here tonight for Tuesday Thoughts and Tuesday Motivation to continue to support Donald Trump and his re-election, the landslide 2020. See y'all guys tomorrow. Bye.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.